Fostering is a great way to experience, what is required to give a dog a full-time home.
Lots of people say it gives them a reason to get up, get out, something to do, something to concentrate on.
We don't want any dog to end its days in a kennel block. As nice as you make the kennel blocks, it's not like having a sofa at home with a family.
Certainly once you've either fostered or owned one, you can't imagine life without one.
I'm Frances Bullen and I'm one of the volunteers here at Hounds, Eastern Counties. I have fostered in the past. I was about to foster, but fortunately, and sadly for me, we found a long-term home for that foster dog, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a lovely home, but there will be others for me. I have adopted as well. I have two of my own Greyhounds at home, Ash and Iris, both from Hounds, Eastern Counties. The reason I foster is because most of the fosters, and I'm sure this is the same with other charities, they usually have a medical need of some kind, or they're getting older. And we don't want any dog to end its days in a kennel block. As nice as you make the kennel blocks, it's not like having a sofa at home with a family. It's really important that that dog has a really good end-of-life experience. It may well have had a really nice life and just come to us because that person hasn't been able to continue giving it the life it was used to. They may have got ill or whatever. So it's important that we can give that dog a smooth transition without it being upsetting for them at the end of their life. Some fosters go on for quite a long time. I would recommend fostering if they were unsure about having a dog. Then fostering is a great way to experience, what is required to give a dog a full-time home.
Ingrid Wright, and I'm lead volunteer for Hounds, Eastern Counties branch. Lots of people say it gives them a reason to get up, get out, something to do, something to concentrate on, and a reason to, do something in the day. Otherwise, lots of people say to us, otherwise, they would just sit in front of the telly, they wouldn't go out, they wouldn't see their neighbours. Lots of people make new friends by fostering and adopting greyhounds because there's lots of organised events and walks that people join in with. So there's a massive social side to having a greyhound.
A dog gives you a social life. If you're the one person walking down the street with a dog, you won't get from one end of the street to the other end of the street without somebody stopping you and making a comment about your dog, a nice comment, wanting to stroke it, asking you about it, where it came from. They really are, they are the ultimate social tool. I think they're the best thing on the planet. I think the best thing you can do for a foster dog, or an adopted dog even, is just give it space when it comes. Don't overpower it with love and affection and jolly this and jolly that. Just be as quiet as you can and let the dog sense where it is and find its own feet within the household. So give it some treats, make sure there's a bed there for it to sit on straight away, show it the water bowl, and then just walk away and leave it.
Experienced fosters like Frances, they've got the experience to know when that dog goes into a foster home, how is that dog coping? When that dog then finds a permanent home, do they need another experienced adopter because the dog might have some behaviours that need to be managed or trained? Or is the dog that's been fostered a ready-made pet and therefore would be one that could be suitable to go into a home where they've never had a dog before, let alone a greyhound? So it's a big part of that initial assessment, just so that we can say, before we then place a dog into a home, what kind of home does that dog need? I think it's also important to not go into it with too high expectations. You're doing it for the benefit of the dog, but realistically, like 99% of the people that come forward interested in fostering, they're doing it for the dog's benefit, not their own. It's a really unselfish thing for people to do. It's, we have foster people that have got young children. We have foster people where they're retired, where they've mobility issues, where they live in flats, where they live in the countryside. Realistically, it's not much difference to people that come forward that want to adopt a dog. There will be a dog that suits a home to be adopted, the same as there will be a home that suits a dog to be fostered. So kindness, patience and love really is the main thing, because we then provide the basics of like the food, covering the vet bills and that sort of thing. What the foster family provide is the time and the space to let that dog develop.
However, I do have to make it clear that fostering is not just a way of getting a dog that you don't have to pay vet fees for. You know, the home has to be right for that dog. The dog's needs come first, always.
I think most of our fosters are failed fosters. We've had one, but they specifically fostered for a weekend because they didn't think they were ready to have another dog because they'd lost a previous one. And one member of the family was desperate to have another dog to cope with losing the previous one. And another member of the family was a little bit reluctant. So we said, right, fine. You know, foster for the weekend, see if the time is right, because especially if you've lost a dog, there's no right and wrong about when is the right time to take on another one. But generally speaking, people foster dogs and then can't bear to part with them.
They tend to get on great certainly with other Greyhounds and most other breeds as well. They're like children, they're a people dog. I have 2 dogs, Ash and Iris, and when Ingrid, our head volunteer, when she comes to visit me, if she brings any of hers, they all just come in the house. They maybe not seen each other for a few months. They just come in, they find their own space together and they just settle down. They're a very placid breed.
They're perfect. They are absolutely perfect. I mean, I had my first Greyhound, like late 1990s, and I think with most people they find you have one Greyhound and you never have anything else. Quite often we've had new volunteers in the past that have got other breeds of dog. They've seen us at an organised event or an organised walk where their dogs are pulling and barking and lunging and generally being dogs, and then they've seen a group of our Greyhounds stood quietly, gently watching the world go by, and they've been amazed at just quite how gentle and quiet and easy to handle the Greyhounds are by comparison to most breeds. And I say then once you've actually then encountered the breed, and they are their own best advert, it's why so many of us get them out at events, and once you've actually been around one, and certainly once you've either fostered or owned one, you can't imagine life without one. You really can't. I couldn't be without one.